Hey Shifties, I just wanted to come on and give an update. We are making some changes to the podcast. We have been in in communication with a few people we wanted to bring on with us. Um, Apparently, if it's just us boys, one of us will just talk about anything, and I we wanted to bring a little bit of structure, a little bit more sensitivity to the conversation, um, especially with um, my situation, my health situation. Um, so we're bringing on uh, some friends and to help guide and structure the communication. It's gonna be really good. It's leveling up the conversation that we we were bringing to the table initially. So yeah, we're just reeling in the boys and bringing in some more feminine energy, and to have a couple more people bring more to the conversation. Um, to give make it a fuller conversation for the people. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I am gonna share a few um, clips of what's to come. I do have some um, behind the scenes conversations about what we're up to, what we want to see the podcast become, and all that. So I'm going to share that with you here.
Oh, what was I just gonna say? I was gonna say one of the things I wanted to say was like Elias and I are the mommy and daddy of this podcast.
I love
I
that.
won't say who is who, but one of us
I already
has
know.
been planting the seeds and the other has just been making it happen, giving birth to it, bringing it into reality. Won't say which one is which.
One's got a penis and one doesn't.
We won't say which one.
Technicalities.
For us, we have a whole
Okay.
Discord that's just for us already. Um,
We don't talk about the super secret things, right?
no, we don't talk about the super secret.
No talking
So
about
this
that.
part is being cut out, right?
No, I think it's a good thing to add to let people know that we do have that Discord open.
Yeah.
So
And it's good
come.
to know that it's open to the public because I didn't realize that.
Are you guys up for doing like a weekly manifestation meditation in that Discord for the public?
Yeah. Let's do this.
Do it.
Because what we have going on is beautiful and magical, and people are shifting and elevating themselves and um, rehumanize. I think that's my biggest thing is the world. Like I had thought of having um, even people who I've had like um, comment section arguments with come on, call me out on whatever I did. So
Mm,
and talk like human to human. Because I want to know what that experience was like for them, because I only know my tone. They're making up a tone for me,
right.
but
Yeah.
I would love to have like people like that come on and just have an opportunity to talk human to human, face to face, and making friends out of enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So spreading the love, spreading humanity, that's what I'm all about. Let me love you.
Nice. and to have a space where we're practicing it and discussing it at the same time, I think is a really exciting thing to have for anybody who wants to see that, what that's like, and not have to have a paywall behind it.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people are doing similar things, but there's
Mhm.
a paywall behind it.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, I think that's so important because it's not like we're all exactly the same or see everything exactly the same, but we do find that space where there's an allowance for wherever we are at the moment and who we are, and there's just love and acceptance and um a greater vision of, you know, basically like listening, watching for, and creating and holding space for, however you want to put that, each other's vision of where who and what and how and we want to be.
I don't know. Did I miss anything? I think I got.
no, I
I'm
think that,
surprised I got as much as I did for how out of it I've been feeling.
yeah, I think you got a good portion of it.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting that you talked about needing to be in the darkness, and you mentioned alchemy. Recently, we were just talking to a friend, and she said that she found God in the darkness. And I think so much of the time we're spending looking at the light, like seeking the light of things, but it's in the darkness that we find our true selves. And I think that's what we found with alchemy
Yeah.
and the Nikos, the darkness, the shadows that are inside of ourselves, that we really start to see the light that is inside of those shadows, and we become more sensitive to the things that are happening around us and what's happening inside of us, really.
And that's it. I think that's all we need, you know, is access to ourselves. Um, and and it's something I wasn't getting with the old ways that I got access to other people through ontology, but I got access to myself um, through alchemy.
I just want to put a spotlight on the moment when you were talking about the monks and how they'll put themselves through these things that, you know, by the way, we don't recommend anyone try that at home. Obviously, they've had a lot of training before they are bashing their head against the wall or whatever that is. But what's interesting to me is that they are consciously choosing to do that. You had a situation happen where you ended up in that space and then consciously chose it from that space. And I think that's the thing that so many of us have a challenge with when we don't feel like we consciously chose it initially, to then choose it anyway. And that's something I know I've struggled with, but when I'm able to do it, it's so powerful. So I love that you pointed to that.
I thank you for that. This is why I invited you guys.
Well,
Am I
it's funny
earning
that
my keep?
You complete me.
a lot of times they're very forceful and painful ways to enter into the body using energy along with it, but teaching the person that they can be okay inside of that pain, inside of that, the pain that their body is creating, and reteaching the body that it doesn't need to interpret those sensations as pain. And it's just this really beautiful way of looking at pain and suffering and the interpretation that our mind has of what pain is, what the sensation is. And today we had this beautiful imagery of, like, we have all of these thoughts, we have all of this narration, this image that's coming from our brain that's projecting what we think we see onto the world, and we live in that narration so much of our time. But inside of that narration, that you start getting further down into the nerve cells, and when you get in, the nerves sending up information from the sensations and everything that's happening inside the body, But as you go in there, like you'll have a big nerve cell that's had a whole bunch of whole bunch of um, communications from other nerve cells, and those nerve cells have other communications from more nerve cells, and then you get down, to the molecules that are creating those sensations inside of those nerve cells. And it's this kind of this tree, this root like um, picture of like a very top down, going deeper and deeper into the body, but we only see and feel those higher level nerve endings, those generals that are telling the other nerve cells what to do, and then communicating what all of those other nerve cells felt, and then coming up to our brain. And so then we take that picture, and that's what we see all the time.
With fibromyalgia, that's what it is. It's just, my understanding is it's unresolved trauma that's kind of just trapped in the system, and then it's coming out as pain and fatigue, and all the other weird symptoms that can come with it. But it's why it took so long for them to even figure out what to call it. For years they were like, what is this thing? And a lot of people got accused of making it up, but it's like the body is interpreting pain at an amplified level all the time. And so, yeah, I find it fascinating to hear you talking more about the work that you're doing and how that kind of relates. I also feel the need to say that we don't condone people going around punching each other without permission.
Debatable.
I don't personally condone that in a very specific setting.
He had it coming.
About today is like, my worry is actually causing more damage to somebody than if I let go of the worry, listen to the body, and relax. Then my punch in a relaxed state will actually heal the person. It will help relax the person. Versus if I am angry and I have this intention to cause harm, then it does damage to the person. Go ahead.
I said, so Fight Club.
Nah, Fight Club's a little different, because again, that's very much the bloody
joke.
Yeah.
Didn't land. It's cool.
I see what you mean. But yeah,
an element is there, I think.
Yeah.
Like they did it to relieve their stress.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Fighting there's this concept of fighting conflict with conflict leads to more conflict. And if you aren't holding any conflict inside of you, then you aren't creating more conflict in another person. So that's kind of the idea behind the relaxation, is you create that relaxation and give that relaxation to somebody else through whatever means is that body is calling for.
Very interesting.
Rubbing your beard there.
I'm rubbing my beard.
Well.
I was even gonna say earlier, I didn't realize, like, the universe had to be rough with me to get me to finally be still, to swept me off my feet, knocked the wind out of me, few head injuries, like, just to get me to finally slow down. And I have a very high tolerance for pain. So even physical pain, I used to whip my legs all the time, and I've just always been okay with all touch, I guess. Even tried to, get as close as I can to the fire, get used to it, like always testing my limits, I guess. Trying to push, go beast mode. Or maybe I just wasn't sensitive to the energies, because I didn't have feelings until I was 41. so I wasn't sensitive to the energies. I just wanted to love on everybody.
I would imagine some of it is also passed down in the DNA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, there's probably a lot that goes into it. I love being affectionate and I love giving hugs and getting hugs if it feels right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I crave that. And yet there are these, often just feels like these, just like the body just being like, nope.
I named one of the channels in the Discord We Can See, because that's how it came out for my brother one time. He was trying to talk about frequency, and it came out we can see. I was like, if we can see, you're right. If we can see something, we are in that frequency.
Mm.
And I think that's what it was. It was sort of what I was pointing to. I didn't have that sensitivity to energy that you did, and probably you both did from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
You just didn't have the words for it, the understanding of it. So, your skin tried to tell you about it. I had to be told by a stranger outside of Trader Joe's that I need to develop my intuition for me to actually start paying attention to that and working on it. It's funny because I was probably in my early 30s when this happened. And he just like comes out of the store, just starts. He says, "Have you ever had any dreams about dragons, like a green dragon?" And I was like, maybe, because I used to have this recurring dream of a giant king cobra. So I was like, maybe that's what I thought it was as a kid, giant cobra. I was like, maybe it was a dragon. I don't know. It was huge. And he says, you're a lot more intuitive than you realize. You should work on that. You should trust your intuition more. And then he disappeared. And then and that's the reason why I was like, oh shoot. I left my wife. Thanks. You were right. This is the wrong relationship for me. uh,
Yeah, for the longest time, I always called it the Holy Spirit. The spirits whispering something to me,
Mm-hmm.
giving me signs and symbols and things to guide me. And then, yeah, I stopped calling it the Holy Spirit. I'm like, whatever it is, it's just information.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think it matters what you call it.
Yeah. I think we all have that. There are certain elements to life that is just inherent in almost all cultures. We just have different names for it.
Mm-hmm. How intentional do we want to be around time?
I was just gonna say, this has been the You've Been Shifted podcast.
Yes.
Shift
Congratulations.
has hit the fan.
You've been shift on?
Yeah,
No.
we just shifted all over you.
We just shifted all over you.
That's it. I love you.
Shift has hit the fan. Thanks for being the fan.
Yes,
Thanks for being shifted.
For letting us shift all over you.
Yes.
All right. The end.